Sir Keir Starmer, our dear leader, has claimed the government is in a battle for the soul of the country with Reform UK and Nigel Farage as he sets out new measures to tackle illegal migration. Take a listen.
There's a battle for the soul of this country now as to what sort of country do we want to be, because that toxic divide, that decline with reform, it's built on a sense of grievance politics, identifying something real for sure, but relying on the problem existing in order for their politics to persist.
Well, joining me in Washington is the former chief advisor to Nigel Farage and also the editor-in-chief of the National Pulse, Raheem Kassam. Raheem, welcome along. Thank you for your company tonight. What's Keir Starmer on about when he talks about the battle for the soul of the country? Who's in this battle, who's taking part, and how does it end up?
Well, I never thought I'd say this, but I agree with Keir Starmer. There is a battle for the soul of the nation right now, and that battle is very firmly between the Labour Party, which really, we always joked in, back in the day when I worked for Nigel, that you could barely put a cigarette paper between the Labour Party and the Conservative Party. So it's not just the Labour Party, it's the Tories too, and then Reform on the other side. And that's why you're seeing, I don't know what it is now, 102, 103 polls that show Reform in the lead, getting a stonking majority if the election were to happen tomorrow. There is absolutely a battle for the soul. And that battle for the soul of the nation is manifesting itself in all sorts of different ways. Obviously, there are the big ticket items, free speech, mass migration, but it also comes down to the nitty-gritty of day-to-day lives of people. How long are they waiting on NHS waiting lists? Are the potholes in their street getting fixed? These all go to what the soul of the nation is. If your neighbourhood is dirty, if your local roundabout is a dumping tip, all of these things, they resonate throughout your neighbourhood, throughout your community. And that's what soulfulness really comes down to. It's family, community and country. And that's what Reform are so good at talking about now. I just went to their conference a couple of weeks ago. It was extraordinary. Those were the themes that came up time and time again.
You were, of course, we said in the introduction, former chief advisor to Nigel Farage. I remember back in the UKIP days you joined them?
Yeah.
Could you ever have imagined then, Raheem, that they'd be polling today, well, leading every poll for the last 6 or 7 months? I think the latest one today showed them winning 350 odd seats or something like that. Could you ever have imagined, when Nigel was sort of rattling around back then in UKIP, that he'd be where he is today, with the year of President Trump, leading every poll going and tipped to be the next Prime Minister? Yeah,
look, after a few shots of absinthe, we would think about that sort of thing. But no, it's a great question, because there was lots of talk about, could we be in coalition government? Could we have the balance of power somehow? Of course, we got 13% of the vote in 2015, but then only one seat in the Parliament, which was, wildly incoherent as far as electoral and democratic politics is concerned. But no, and seeing these people get together at Reform Conference a couple of weeks ago, it was extraordinary to me how Nigel's apparatus has grown up. I will say for myself, we weren't particularly organised or grown up in the way we went about things. These people he's got around him now are true professionals.
Is the setup he's got now, could they walk into Downing Street, or is there some more fine-tuning to go?
Oh, well, look, there's definitely fine-tuning. I think he would say that, all the people around him would say that. They still need a couple of years to recruit the right people, to get up to speed with the apparatus of government. I don't think anybody would lie to the British public right now and say, day one, we can get everything done, if it were to happen tomorrow. The reality is this party is going to grow at the local elections next year. It's going to grow in the year after that, and it will then be able to walk into Downing Street and avoid a situation that, say, President Trump had in his first term, where they couldn't staff up the government properly.
As a journalist, I always need to remember more in less time. And you know what I really hate? Taking notes. It wastes loads of time and you forget stuff. And that's where Plord comes in. This is the Plord Note, a sleek, pro-level AI note-taker that records and creates notes for you. Whether you're listening to a long podcast, stuck in a meeting, or on an important call, Plord captures everything at the tap of a button. Then it gives you a smart, structured summary with all of the key takeaways. It even recognises different speakers by their voice, and you can choose from bullet points, to-do lists, or even mind maps. Your data's safe too, with end-to-end encryption and global privacy compliance. And with Plord's built-in AI, you can search everything you've ever recorded just by asking a question. It's slim, magnetic, under 30 grams, lasts up to 60 days on standby, and over 1 million people are already using it. Hit the link in the description and use code GB10 for £10 off your Plord order. save hours of time, and never miss a detail again. Link in the description below.
Well, I spoke to Liz Truss a few weeks ago. I interviewed her, and she was saying, did you say sorry about that? She's okay. She's a lovely lady. She was saying, will Nigel Farage, if he gets in, will he be Trump 1.0, where he's kind of doesn't really know how government works, he's bounced around by the likes of John Bolton and Fauci and all the deep state globalists, or will he be Trump 2.0, where he's got his team around him, he knows what to do this time, and I'd argue he's on a bit of a vengeance mission as well?
Yeah, no, I would argue that the British civil service is actually harder to deal with than the US, quote-unquote deep state. They're more entrenched, they've got more power, it's more organised, they're certainly more nefarious. And so I think Nigel really and his team really have their work cut out for them. That's why this year, the next year and the year after that, it will really take ordinary people getting involved with that party, because Nigel can't do all the work himself, Zia can't do all the work himself, Richard Tice can't do all the work himself. They're going to need hundreds upon hundreds of people, and they will need thousands to staff up government. That's where ordinary people get involved.
One more very quick question. Of course, you're a Brit. With Nigel back in the day, you've now moved to DC. There's that infamous picture of you, or famous rather, with President Trump in the golden elevator. Was it a day after he was elected in 16?
Day after.
The day after. So you've got a good intuition for what's the vibe on the street here in DC. What does this Trump administration really think of Keir Starmer? Because I know President Trump is very diplomatic in person. And would the Trump administration much prefer Nigel Farage to be Prime Minister?
I think that's a no-brainer. They see eye to eye on all manner of things.
What do they think of Starmer?
I won't try and speak for President Trump, because people at home will be laughing when I say this. He is actually an incredible diplomat in person. He's kind. When we walked in there to his house, that was, right? To his penthouse in New York, the first thing he did was, can I get you anything? And he didn't mean, can I get a servant to run off and get you anything? He meant, can I get you anything? He does the same thing at Mar-a-Lago. Like, he'll go off and get you a Diet Coke himself, and bring it back on a little gold. He loves playing the host, and he loves playing the diplomat. But he knows that diplomacy only gets you so far. His people, I will channel a little bit here. My sources, let's say, in the White House and on Capitol Hill, they think Keir Starmer is, probably the worst thing that they could have possibly inherited as a partner on intelligence, as a partner on free speech and democracy issues and all that. But you know what? It's reality. They have to deal with him. In fairness to Keir Starmer, he did get elected, and they'll have to work with it.
In his defence, for reasons of balance, he'd say that deportations are up in the UK. They've got the one-in, one-out deal. Flights are off the ground. Inflation's been falling as well, and of course he's got the trade deal with the US and amongst other trade deals. So is he all that bad, Keir Starmer?
Well, if we're talking about balance, he inherited one of the worst scenarios from a Conservative Party that had not been Conservative in about 20 years. So there's plenty of blame to be laid at the quote-unquote political right as well in the United Kingdom. And I think also we have to accept that the voters have some culpability here as well. Re-electing Tories and re-electing Labour time and time again and expecting some change is a nonsense. Yeah.
Also, President Trump said that Starmer was a great negotiator. Of course, we've got the tariff slashed from, what was it, 20% to 10 or 15 to 10. Is he a good negotiator, do you think, Keir Starmer? President Trump says so.
Was it Starmer or was it Mandelson?
Yeah, interesting. That Mandelson story's just gone under the rug, hasn't it? It was a bizarre press conference in, where were they last time round? In the UK, when Trump was just saying, I don't know who Mandelson is.
Well, that's how he deals with uncomfortable situations.
Also, one more point before I let you go. Reform have no MPs at the moment. Well, 5 MPs, one in, one out. Could have had maybe 7 at one point. No,
Sure.
5, 4. Does that pose a concern for Reform, and does that give kind of Labour the advantage of having the idea of stability? I mean, they've got a massive stonking majority.
Yeah, incumbency is massive in politics, and that really falls down to the average voter. Do they want real change, or do they think that somewhere along the lines the old guard have their best interests at heart and they can cajole them around? I would argue that the average British voter right now says, you know what, we've tried it, it's not working, it's time for reform.
OK, Raheem, thank you very much. Appreciate your company.
Okay,
Hopefully
cheers.
see you again soon.
Appreciate it.
And I'll be at your restaurant as well.
Love it.
Top Steak, Butterworth in DC. If any viewers are here or listeners are here, Butterworth in DC.